This is All Things Fitness and Wellness, uniting industry thought leaders and fitfluencers on the mission to inspire innovation and encourage people to live a life fit and well. Brought to you by British Columbia Personal Training Institute. Learn how to train, gain, and retain clients. Visit bcpti.ca. The global sauna market is projected to reach $4.6 billion by 2025. Today, we hear from the sauna dude, Valterri Rantala, who runs the Ark Spa and the Finnish Sauna in Vancouver, British Columbia. Valterri is from Finland, where sauna is part of the culture. It's estimated that there are 3 million saunas for a population of 5.5 million in Finland. And the market in North America is just heating up. So today we'll learn about Valterri's journey from Finland to Vancouver and why he's on a mission to share the love of sauna throughout BC and beyond. Before we get to it, be sure to hit like and subscribe. We have new episodes of the ATFW Industry series every Monday and the Celebrity series every Wednesday. This is ATFW. You grow up in Finland, sauna a huge part of the culture. So tell me a little bit about that experience, because for you, this is second nature.
Yeah, sauna culture is huge in Finland, and it has a very long heritage. And I was lucky to grow up in a countryside in an island, and we had a sauna in the lake. It's very typical that Finns build a sauna if they had a lake or river access, or if not, they built the sauna before they built the house. So that's really, really part of the culture. And I was lucky to be part of the culture since a young child and been hosting friends and family and a lot of intimate gatherings in that space all my life. So it was just a second nature.
And so did you start traveling out of Finland? Like, how did you all of a sudden end up on the West Coast? Let's talk about that journey.
Yeah, so I've been always curious by nature, and I stayed in Finland until about 28, but I'd always been traveling. My background is in the water sport industry. I had a stand-up paddle kiteboarding school in Finland, and I did trips relating to that around the world. And then at 28, 29, I got into acro yoga. Met a girl in a teacher training in Thailand who lived here, and then started coming to BC and Vancouver around 2015. And then just always been in the nature, so fell in love with the culture, with the nature, with the wilderness here, and just felt like at home.
So what did you do at first when you came to Vancouver?
Well, I was kind of in a transition phase, still a little bit working remotely to back home and figuring out the next chapter here. I was teaching acro yoga partner acrobatics and still doing a little bit of work with my stand-up paddle and kiteboarding business back home, and traveling a little bit back and forth. So I was in a transition phase, so to say.
Those are the best phases where you just get to explore, play around, lean into what you enjoy, discover something new. But it sounds like what you discovered was something was missing from Vancouver. What was it?
Yeah, so I think I've survived 2 years without sauna. So we would go to the different saunas and spas that were around, but never really felt the intimacy or quite happy what was offered. And always like, oh, you can't pour water on the rocks, or you had to like dodge around the rules, as there wasn't really a history of sauna culture. So I was really missing that part of my life. And eventually, through some friends, I just met this guy who started, Mika, my friend, who had started building mobile saunas, and we started chatting, and eventually through some events, I just ended up owning one for my personal use. So I just ended up getting a little mobile sauna and started hosting friends and family and little gatherings. And what I love the most is bringing friends from different circles together. It's just a unique place to hang out. So got into that, and then Mount Pleasant in our backyard started enjoying the wood-fired sauna again.
And so now that you had brought it there, tell me about the expansion, because I first became familiar with yourself from simply riding around Spanish banks and then seeing this thing set up, being like, this is pretty rad.
I had more time back then. Now my life is getting a little busy, but we would travel around and use saunas in beautiful places. And Spanish Banks was one that was nearby. We had ocean access, and it was just beautiful, spring, summer sunsets, and have a sweat swim in the ocean. So we started using it there. People started asking, and then I thought like, oh, maybe I'll put it on Facebook and invite some people. And ask a little bit of donations, and then just post it on Facebook, and it was full right away. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And it was the kind of people who showed up were amazing. So right away I was like, okay, this is what a pursuit, and I'm gonna figure out how to make this into a business and a future and part of my lifestyle.
The people that were finding you, did you find they were ones that were quite familiar with sauna culture or more a curiosity of something that they had not experienced?
I think people had experience. So people had some sort of either a travel experience or some sort of a very meaningful moment that they had in the sauna before. So they had that like background of like, oh, this is something that I'm always looking for. So people were tuned into that. So some Europeans and some people who had moved here from other places, and some Canadians who had traveled or had parents who were into sauna. So everyone had some sort of a either childhood or at some point in their 20s had a beautiful moment in the culture. So they kept their tentacles aware of where are the good sauna places.
Well, and this is the thing that I find really beautiful about sauna culture. And really, we find this in so many aspects of our fitness and wellness that we know there's a lot of physical benefits to taking part. But at the end of the day, it really does become about community, or if it's something that we're embarking on solo, what it does for our mental state, the de-stress, and all of a sudden you're giving this to people. So tell me how you transform from on the road mobile to the Ark, and explain what the Ark Spa is.
After a while, we've kind of figured that the mobile model is awesome, and it gives us a lot of range and to test different models, but there's more room to create intimate places when we set up a permanent location. And we started in Squamish this spring. We have a sauna set up there by a ranch, by a river, beautiful location. And then we were looking for a place to set up in Vancouver, and we stumbled upon a mansion that we rented out as a community, and just had a room which was perfect for workshops, had a backyard that is perfect for building a flow with hot cold therapy and sauna. So yeah, so we just created this boutique style spa in the back of a private mansion, and started hosting wellness gatherings, workshops, sauna sessions, different kind of events to bring awareness of what we do.
And I kind of want to dive in there because you say it very casually, but that's a pretty cool experience. You rent a mansion with 9 other individuals. So tell me how all of you have come together. What's the story there?
I've been always a community person. So, for example, acro yoga is big into the community and the outdoor sports, create a community. So just from different sources of people who are keen of co-living and having something bigger that you can create as a group and see how you can exist. So we were living in a Shaughnessy in a 6-bedroom house, and then ended up in this new 9-bedroom house. So it's just like gradually evolving, and a lot of people have the same dream to eventually live in the land communally and sustainably. So it is a chapter that we're now able to do in the city, and around Vancouver and Greater Vancouver, there's a lot of huge houses that are just like left empty. So we're really using the every square foot of a place, and it feels good.
Yeah, I mean, tell me about the dynamics in that type of living situation, because truthfully, so I ride motorbikes and I'm super close with my crew there, and we literally imaginarily talk about that in our future lives, being like, how cool if we all pulled together and kind of created this community. So I just find it fascinating because you're doing that.
Yeah, and it's also a mix of community and co-living. So people still have their own roofs, their own privacy, their own flow, their own work. So we're not all like, we don't have a mortgage together, or we don't grow food together. It's not that tight of a community, but we do coexist, live and create events together. So that's part of it. And as long as you have enough space to kind of be in your own flow and relax and ease into it, then it works. If it becomes too tight, too crowded and hectic for people, and it's not for everybody. Like sometimes the stuff you leave in one place might not be in there the day after. So it requires communication and patience and systems to make the flow work, and everybody have their special gift, so everyone to recognize what their gifts are to that space. So it's really important to see everyone's value and contributions.
Oh, I love the way that you verbalize that. I always tell my friends it's their special feature. You start to notice their special built-in feature where I'm like, I wasn't made with that one. Let's kind of unite and put those together, and then magic happens when you have that.
Yeah, and I would just mention with the sauna flow, like every community house that I lived in Vancouver or Greater Vancouver, we always had a sauna there. So it's just been evolving and growing how we do it. So now we're just getting better at it because now we have the bigger sauna or outdoor shower, we have cold tubs, fire pit lounge, just a flow designed for intimate gatherings and dropping into deep conversations and connection.
So what can people expect when they walk up the drive at your secret location and all of a sudden go through that gate into the backyard? Walk me through a typical experience.
Yeah, so yesterday, for example, I was thinking about that because I was there and seeing people's expressions. So when people visit first time, they're like, kind of like, what's going on? They're a little bit suspicious, like, is this happening? And just like wondering, like, am I in the right place? And then there's a little bit of nervousness in the beginning, but once you like show people this is where you get changed, this is where you're gonna hang out, put some music on, fire, very calming element, steam, cold, all that just drops in. And after we get into the first round of the sweat and then a cold plunge and then hang out in the fire, everybody's energy just kind of winds down and people are like, okay, like I have arrived. So we want to create this homey feeling that you're in a home away from home, hanging out with friends, meeting new people, and that you're welcomed to be as you are and create this experience with people. And it's very second nature to me. And then sometimes I'm just trying to like help people to relax and let their nervous system calm down for what we offer. And oh yeah, also I would add to be curious. It's not always the same. Different people show up, different energy, different day. So be curious who's there, tune into what's going on and add to that experience.
Turn your passion for fitness into a career with British Columbia Personal Training Institute. Taught by personal trainers, BCPTI combines classroom and in-gym training to give you the tools needed to succeed in the fitness industry and make an impact. With a simple formula focused on service, science, and sales, prospective personal trainers learn how to gain, train, and retain clients. Visit bcpti.ca for more information.
Well, and I was going to say because you get to witness people walking in that maybe have that, you can tell they're living almost high up in their chest or their neck with that nervous energy. What's the transformation that you see from when they walked in that gate to when they're leaving at the end of the experience?
You see more relaxed shoulders, you see the energy relax, and you see more smiles, and you're like, yeah, people are just really happy. I'm very grateful to be working in the space where people are generally very happy. You can see in their energetic aura that it definitely has calmed down quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a pretty special thing to witness, be a part of, build a community around that. How does it feel for you knowing you have grown up as this being, as I say, second nature, and all of a sudden there's this shift happening throughout North America? I know that there was a recent report about saunas that now it's becoming one of the most desirable things to put in a new home if you're somebody that is purchasing one. Whereas, as you said, normally in Finland, you build the sauna first and then build the house. So how does it feel for you to see so many more people discovering this as a wellness tool?
I think it's amazing. I'm now a little bit used to it, but it was just like I've been saying when we have our mobile saunas at the beach and we're just all sweating in a box, like I'm like, hey, stoked that you're all here. It's raining, it's stormy, and we're all just sweating in a small box and having a good time. Like, why is this there's a good time? And we're all like, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing, but this is a great time. So yeah, it's just I have so much gratitude for that. And also I would add that North America adds US, Canada. There's always a cultural elements that is added to the origins. So even if you go in Europe, Finland, Germany, the Czechs, they all do it slightly differently. So for me, it's just that like be curious. What can we add? It doesn't have to be the same way that it's been in Finland, and there's definitely things that can be done even better or more fun in North America. For example, adding more breathwork elements, adding more singing, adding drumming, or adding different elements of mindfulness.
Yeah, you kind of have creative minds now that are wrapping around this concept and turning it into their own. I'm curious at the Ark, though, you were showing me what is it that's hanging at the door, because there was a traditional element that you said is quite fun to play with in the sauna experience. So explain that one to me.
In Finnish, we call it vihta, which would be a whisk. So it can be an oak or birch or there's a few other like eucalyptus branches you tie into a little bundle. And then you can use those branches as a way to move the steam around the space. You also use them to smack against the skin. So you can give like treatments depending on your space, what's allowed. But it's really soothing for your skin. It's good for your blood circulation. There's a lot of benefits to that, and it's fun. People who are not used to it, they're like, "Oh, I got in my bathing suit into a stranger sauna, and then I was smacked with leaves in there." So it's just a fun element that is really deep into the Finnish and Russian banya culture.
That is where good stories are made. It's like just with your synopsis there, I'm like, exactly. Like that's when you know you're living, when you leave with a little unique experience like that.
Yeah, and I remember when we did that when my girlfriend from Canada first time came to Finland, and we did that, and she was with like 4 naked men in the sauna, being smacked by branches, and like, yeah, you're welcome, you're home now. So it is an experience, and I like to bring those parts of the culture here.
No, I mean, that's what life is for. It's experiencing new elements. I can think of nothing more boring if we all lived the same day twice. And so I really think that that's what your whole concept is evoking, because I'm sure even for your regulars, every single time it's new faces showing up, new dynamics, new community. And I don't know about you, but I feel like over the last couple of years, I've never seen in humanity more that craving for community and connection.
Yeah, and maybe that happened also after being isolated for a couple of years and not supposed to gather. So maybe it was something that people are not really understanding the value of when it was for a moment taken away, and health and wellness has really become a bigger value. So that was probably a bit of a catalyst, those few years of pandemic to really bring awareness to this space as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, especially for me. When I look at currency, time is my biggest one. How am I investing my time? And I've always had a little bit of that mindset, but I think more and more people woke up to that. My time is one of the most valuable things to spend and invest, and you want to invest it in people and conversation and learning and experiences. So let's say there's somebody out there. I think that everyone's familiar with saunas, but again, in North America, it's maybe you're traveling to a hotel or gym and they happen to have one, but we've never really known how to take advantage properly. So what would be kind of the best approach to a sauna experience to yield the most benefits?
The typical is like to find, if you're lucky, you can find a really nice hot wood-fired sauna. And then, like, okay, this is going to be hot enough. I can pour water on the rocks, get a good steam. And sauna is not about being comfortable all the time. It's not about being in your robe and you have the perfect temperature all the time. You're going to be sweating and miserable at the end of your first round of hot. Then you go outside, you find either a river or a lake or a cold tub, and then you're gonna be in the cold. You're gonna be freezing. You're like, this is a lot. But then take deep breaths, relax your shoulders, and you try to stay there for a few breaths longer than you want to, and then you find your area where you can relax. Ideally, it's a real fire pit where you can sit down, have a drink, and drop in for a moment to rest. So if you can find the kind of cycle where you can go from hot that is almost uncomfortably hot, cold that is too cold, and then after that relax in the fire, that's the best flow. And there's many different ways to create that for different styles, different shapes, from floating saunas to mobile saunas to permanent structures to stoves. So yeah,
it's
growing.
It's completely growing, and it's kind of funny. I'm so glad that you said it that way, because I was on the phone with my own mom this morning, where she's always been more of a comfort zone, hold on tooth and nails to that. And I think because I grew up with that, it's the example, and I love her to pieces, but I was like, I don't want my life experience to live in that comfort zone. And so I was explaining about the sauna and the cold plunge, and she's like, "Oh, I could maybe do the hot, but I could never do the cold. I can't do that." And I said, "You can't or you won't, because those are two very different things." And she's like, "Oh, well, it'd just be so like nothing appeals to me about that." And I was like, "That's the point. It's not meant to be comfortable. There is no more uncomfortable thought for me than going in a place that's too hot or too cold. But when you push past that, the benefit on the other side mentally is tremendous. Like, talk to me about the mental stamina that it can help instill in you."
I always think about you go in the sauna and you have a bit of an ego of your day, like you did all these things, and it's just it humbles you. And when you're humbled by the elements, it's like it opens up a little bit pathways to connection and love and compassion. That's how I feel. So you kind of drop in like, okay, like what really matters here. So you're just in a more easeful, restful state after you push through. And every day is different depending what you eat, what your stress level. You also learn to listen to your body, how much you need to push. And people's tolerance is different. So you don't follow everyone else's rhythm. You need to also tune into your own rhythm and where you start feeling uncomfortable and how much you need to push. And in good saunas, we also can have different levels to sit on, so you can find your flow. So it's not a competition, even though they used to have competitions in Finland for who can stay the longest, but it's not a competition. It's just for yourself.
I appreciate that. Now that you said that, though, I feel like now I'm going to have to look up and see what are the records, because I'm just merely curious.
Well, what happened last time is the winner ended up in a coma. They both ended up in a hospital. The Russian and the Finnish sauna competitions, they become too risky because they wouldn't give up. So, then they started banning the competing on the sauna because it was too risky because they were pushing it too much.
Fair enough. I guess when that willful mindset's like, I'm not giving up, eventually your body is going to be like, I'm going to just peace out then. You can stay there mentally, but physically, I'm going to depart this experience.
That's very true.
So when it comes to yourself as a person, obviously you came to Vancouver, discovered there was something that you were seeking, bring it on board. You've translated it now to building such a sense of community. What have been some of your biggest learnings along this wonderful adventure?
I think one thing for sure that I've learned is like just tune into what's going on around you, and like don't keep building on what you've done, like keep creating and enhancing the experience, the nuances, and you see one thing working, but like keep adding fun things to it and make it interesting for yourself. And especially with these more permanent locations, one of the biggest learning is like how do you curate a flow where people can really drop in and feel relaxed and has more of that hangout time, that is not just in the hot cold. It doesn't feel rushed. And then the other thing has been really fun is adding different elements to the sauna. So we've been doing breath work, or do a run before, or have a communal meal after. Just little things that you can add to the flow to make it more meaningful. And also before going to an event or parties or out in the city, just like having if you have a sauna and a dinner and reset, that's a very typical flow in Finland. You do a sauna, you do your dinner, and then you go out into the world to experience it from a better state of mind. So creating that. And business wise, there's been a lot of learning. A lot of people have started after us and done some things better and some things differently. So always learning and building partnerships and helping other entrepreneurs to get started. So we definitely have helped people in different parts of BC to build them a sauna or just guide them through the beginning, and just sharing the passion.
Well, and kind of on that note, because it's exactly right. It's growing quite rapidly. I mean, if you do a Google search, even you can start to see more and more places
Yeah.
popping up on the map. So do you find that because I mean, the whole essence of what you're explaining is community. So is it quite a supportive community of each other as there's that kind of healthy competition growing in the space?
Yeah, most entrepreneurs are super awesome and friendly, and sometimes people get a little bit competitive and territorial, but that's normal and like trying to make your space work. But mostly it's super awesome, and also people travel from sauna place to sauna place and like to experience. So there is a level of loyalty, and people stay in one, but people like to experience new spaces, so they go around and share stories, and I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I think there's abundance of work still. So I was just doing it from the right place, from the heart, and try to keep it accessible. I think it's the accessibility. It's not. I don't want it to be a luxury service. You can have different price points as an entrepreneur, but I think part of the sauna culture, it is an essential service, from my opinion. And so we always try to keep a price point where people can do a good sauna for $25-$30 in some places. So that's always been part of my value, and that's how it is accessible in Finland as well.
Well, and I think it's nice because you are so tied to your why. I can feel that off of you. And I think
Yeah,
anytime we're really defined where the root is about what truly matters, success just tends to happen because you're aligning on so many levels with so many people. So, what are your hopes going forward in the future? Because you obviously have this entrepreneurial streak that I don't think you
yeah.
can help.
I'm psychologically unemployable for other people, so I'll be working for myself for rest. But I think what really interests me is it's been a bit of a solo journey sometimes. So creating more partnerships, creating a bit of a team and people that you can co-create together, and collaborating with other businesses as well is that's how I see a more sustainable future. Some of the things and places are still fragile, like buildings permits can come and go and locations can change, and yeah, there's a lot of variability, and it's not easy for small businesses in a city like Vancouver or stuff to get going, and there's a lot of new regulation in this space as well that nobody really has figured out, and there's no culture, so it's harder here for sure. So having a team and passionate people and community around to help, it's really is huge.
Yeah, you're kind of the trailblazers if you think about it, because I do think that in not that long of a time, it is going to be highly integrated in our culture. There is such an appetite for it. And I think that once people have had the experience and the benefits that you speak to, I have a feeling most people will go in expecting the physical benefits and how you feel with the calming of the nervous system. And then it's the community that's really going to hook them in that probably
Yeah.
surprises people the most. But as you talk about collaborating, what type of appetite are you seeing from boutique studios, for example, that are trying to amp up their platforms and maybe have an offering that wouldn't be sustainable for them to do on their own?
So a lot of events we've done has been with either with a gym owner or part of the cold plunge crews. There's a lot of little communities that do cold plunging together. There's companies that do cold plunging events at the beach or lakes. So collaborating with fitness places, gyms, studios, entrepreneurs who want to start in other places like Yukon. We have a sauna in Whitehorse that we help somebody
I love
start.
Yukon so much.
Yeah, Whitehorse, Yukon. We ship one of our saunas there, and there's a Yukon sauna. Tyler, local gentleman, is running that. So yeah, having these little satellite places where people are growing their business from where we were a few years ago is really awesome to see. And then in the city, there's all these different communities that are doing amazing work.
It's really cool to see the community come together in that way. So if there's somebody out there that is, because let's face it, this is a really highly visual social media space as well. And you know what? I think it's kind of neat that if people are in and they want to share, it kind of gets the word out further of this wellness experience. But
Yeah,
if there's somebody that's seeing it and is thinking, oh, I don't know, is it for me? What do you say to them about the ones that are hesitant about giving it a try for the first time?
be curious. Like there's so much opportunity to immerse in cold water in BC. There's so many more sauna places happening, and word of mouth is the most powerful. So most likely in the next little bit, one of your friends will invite you to a space or a gathering in this theme. So yeah, just go with it, just experience, go hang out, see how it feels, and give it more than one try, because it doesn't unlock always in the first try. A lot of people have come like, yeah, after 4 or 5, their body is more tuned in and relaxing into the hot and cold. So might not always be love at first sight. Like some people say, you got to try at least 3 times, even if it's a new sport. So I would say give sauna a proper try, and let go of what the community center experience might have been for you, because it's what we are creating, what the other entrepreneurs are creating. It's beyond what the community center saunas are about.
Yeah, and it's about shedding those expectations and just experiencing for ourselves. So before I let you go here and make everyone do this and put them on the spot, I'm sure you have many, but I would love if you could leave me with a motivational quote or nugget of wisdom that you live your life by.
Sauna related quote maybe is life is not always about being comfortable. It's fleeting moments of comfort, and then you get to experience these like challenges along the way. So challenges are your pathway towards comfort.
Oh, I love that one. Thank you so much. That's perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this. This was amazing.
You've just listened to All Things Fitness and Wellness, the Industry Series. This episode was brought to you by the British Columbia Personal Training Institute. Learn how to train, gain, and retain clients. New episodes of the Industry Series drop every Monday, and the Celebrity Series every Wednesday. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you never miss out on hearing from industry thought leaders and influencers. We are on a mission to help everyone live a life fit and well.